Hello my dear students, how are you? Doing fine? Yes. So now we have almost completed a month of lockdown. How do you all feel? I can see those smiles on the faces of my students, right? Grinning. You're enjoying, getting bored. Okay, all of it. Fine. So time again to focus back on your work, back on your studies, right? Okay, let's have a quick recap. So this is our fourth biology video lesson. We have started with transportation in plants, just to bring back to you in your place, focus your mind and your attention on what is going to be said for the next 20 odd minutes. Right, students? Hope all of you are ready with a pen, with a book to note down your points, to write down if you have any doubts. All right. So what did we do? We did the structure of xylem, structure of phloem, both of them responsible for, right, transport of water and minerals in xylem and food in phloem, right? Then what did we do? We moved on to the processes involved in transportation of water and minerals, right? And in that what we studied two processes out of the three. We learned what was osmosis, we learned what was diffusion, we understood the similarities, we understood the differences in between both the processes, much of them being similar, but there is a major difference where in diffusion there's no medium. It could be water, it could be gas, it could be air, anywhere. Whereas in osmosis we are talking about aquatic medium and focusing on movement of water molecules, right? Now we move on to the next process in this processes involved in transportation of water and minerals, which is active transport. And I remember telling you last time, since the processes are new to you, you need to understand it clearly well before we go on to the next. And I believe you all have learned the definitions of osmosis and diffusion clearly, right? Okay, let's go on to the next process. So this is the third process which helps the plant transport its water and transport the food across the plant body. Active transport. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, in both the processes that we have studied already, that was diffusion and osmosis, what happens was the movement is along the concentration gradient. Now, that was again a new term you had learned. And what I had told you, what was concentration gradient? When a movement is happening from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration, right? Now what happens is, in active transport, the movement is in exact opposite direction. All right. So what is basically active transport? Let's just have a look at the definition. It says the movement and the absorption and movement of minerals across the semi-permeable membrane against the concentration gradient using energy in the form of ATP is called active transport. Now here the words or the line says that against the concentration gradient. Now when it says against the concentration gradient, means the movement is happening, if you see, it is going uphill, right? The movement is happening from an area of lower concentration to an area of higher concentration. You can see that the movement is happening towards higher concentration. All right. Now the image here showing the movement is going uphill. Even then, you remember I was talking about when you go downhill, down a slope, it's pretty easier. You don't even have to spend any energy, put any efforts. You can just run down the hill or run down the slope. When you're climbing a slope, when you're climbing uphill, obviously your efforts are more, right? You're going against the gravity. Now that is completely physical concept, that you're going against the gravity, Earth's gravity. Okay. On similar lines, what happens is molecules where there are less, okay, and molecules where there are more. Now compare this situation. This is your plant body inside the stem and the roots. This is in the soil. Now here focus on the molecules. These are not water molecules. We are talking about minerals. Okay, so the minerals are less in the soil and more inside the plant body. But still the plant needs to absorb those minerals. Then what will plant do? Plant will have to absorb them irrespective of whether they are less or more. So that is where active transport helps the plants. Active transport will help the plant in absorbing this less mineral molecules that are available in the soil by using energy and get them inside the plant body, get them absorbed by the roots. All right. Now, how they are going to spend energy? Now, energy is always in the form of ATP. And what is ATP? You need to understand that, right? Here I have given one more image. Now this is your plasma membrane. This is the soil and this is inside the root. See, here also they have shown. Now though water is mentioned over here, understand that the minerals present in the soil will not be in dry form. They will have to be dissolved in the water. Okay, so when roots are absorbing water, understand that they are also absorbing the dissolved minerals. So though they are showing here water molecules are moving inside, that means the dissolved minerals inside the water molecules will be moving inside the cell. All right. Now energy, though this diagram basically is for you to understand the root hair cell and the surrounding area. Please do not get confused about the concentration. Okay, for concentration I have shown this image. This root hair cell is just for you to understand how each root hair cell. Now this is just one root hair, just one root hair. A plant has millions and multi-millions of root hairs. Okay, so this is just for you to understand that in the soil, individual root hair cell keeps absorbing. Okay, here this is the situation where the minerals are less and the plasma membrane is there, and the movement is happening in the direction where there are more molecules. So energy is going to go against the concentration gradient, and ATP is the energy used by the cells. So let's see what active transport is. The concentration of minerals is more inside the root hair than the outside the soil. So what happens is the minerals have to be absorbed from a level of lower concentration, which is in the soil. The soil will not necessarily have a higher concentration of minerals. Now why did I add the word necessarily here? Because if it is a well manicured garden, a garden where there is a gardener to take care of the needs of the soil, you might have a soil which is rich in nutrients. But we are talking about the plants of this entire living world. So it could be a forest floor, it could be any part of the earth where you cannot assure that the soil will always have the necessary amount of nutrients. Isn't that right? So we have to understand the needs of the plants irrespective of whether the soil is provided by nutrients or they are not provided by nutrients. So what happens is the minerals will have to absorb the minerals from an area of lower concentration, that is the soil in which they are growing, and Where they have to absorb it? Inside the cells, where there are chances of having more amount of mineral ions. So this movement of molecules needs energy, which is obtained by the root hair cells through respiration. And how does respiration helps us here? Respiration gives us the necessary energy in the form of energy currency, which is called as ATP. What is ATP? ATP is adenosine triphosphate. Now, these are 3 phosphate molecules, phosphorus molecules, which are having bonds, okay? And they are tied to adenosine. Adenosine is a nucleotide. Now, we will not get into the details of what is adenosine. It is difficult for you to understand it in 10th standard when you come. I will help you out with what is adenosine. For now, you understand it's a chemical molecule inside a cell. And just in case you want to really or curious to know what it is a type of a nucleotide. Alright. So, adenosine triphosphate, the bonds are present, the energy is present between these bonds. Alright. So, there is always a triple bond, and that is why triphosphate. So, whenever we require energy, these bonds are broken, the energy is released, and it comes back to diphosphate. So ATP becomes ADP by giving out energy for work. So we collect these currencies and keep it in our cells. So what happens is, when you eat food, it gets digested, absorbed, fine, goes to the cells, and there the glucose, which is the most simplest form of carbohydrate required for respiration, it works as the fuel, right? We burn the glucose and get energy. So after burning glucose, the energy that is collected by each and every cell of our body, I repeat, each and every cell of our body will have thousands of these ATP molecules. Now this ATP is behaving like your cash currency. So we call them as the energy currency, right? So whenever the cell requires input of energy, it will ask for ATP. And ATP will break its bonds, release the energy and get the work done. Then what happens to that ATP after the bonds are broken and energy is given out? Well, as I mentioned, it turns to diphosphate or ADP. Then there is inorganic phosphate present in the cytoplasm. It will recombine with the inorganic phosphate and ADP will recombine with it, form ATP again. Alright, so they keep forming the bond, breaking the bond. By breaking the bond, they release energy and again they gain energy by forming a triple bond, and it again becomes adenosine triphosphate, right? So this active transport that is happening inside the cells is always after using ATP. The transport will be happening against the concentration gradient. Again, one more picture depiction here, the chemical formula and the structure provided here. You have your adenosine triphosphate. Okay, this is commonly called as the energy currency for organisms. So the concentration of minerals will not matter to the plants when it comes to absorb the minerals. All right, now why are the minerals required? Minerals are required for various reactions that take place in the cell. Towards the end of this chapter, I will also give you a list of the minerals required in larger amounts, that is macronutrients, and minerals required in smaller amounts, that is micronutrients. All right, so absorption of minerals is very, very important for the plants to carry out their life processes, and hence the importance of active transport. Okay, now most of the time, as I mentioned, the concentration of minerals will always be inside always be more inside the root hair than outside the cells. All right, and hence active transport plays a very crucial role in case of absorption where there is dearth or lack of molecules outside and molecules are more inside. Okay, so with this we finish off the 3 important processes required for the transport in plants. First one was diffusion, second one was osmosis, and third one is this active transport. Now moving on, next in the next video we will be doing the after all this, you know, what happens to the water and minerals, what exactly it does, where it goes, how it is absorbed, how it reaches to every corner of the plant. So that will be again the second aspect of this particular chapter. So what was the first aspect? In the first aspect, we had studied about the detailed structure of the pipes laid across the plant body. The pipes were xylem carrying water and minerals and phloem carrying food. The second aspect of this chapter was the important processes that take place for absorption and translocation of food. Correct? Now, absorption of water and minerals and translocation of food. In that, we saw diffusion and osmosis were very similar with little difference in them, and active transport was completely different. Why different? Because it was going against the concentration gradient, that is from a lower concentration to higher concentration. Okay, whereas in osmosis and diffusion we have studied the movement of molecules is along the concentration gradient, that is from higher concentration to lower concentration. All right students, today I did not want to add on the third concept because I really want you to soak in the 3 processes. Only then you will be able to move on to, now the next aspect will be the root pressure, how the pressure is created inside the roots for absorption, how the pressure is developed in the pipes laid so that the water can move up to the highermost branch, to the tip of the highermost tip of the plant, and then we will conclude the chapter with the requirement of the macronutrients and micronutrients. All right, is that clear? I know today's video was very short one, but I didn't want to drag on or add on a new concept to it. I wanted to finish off this transport, the processes involved in the transport. Now that we are done with it, there's a small exercise towards the end. Let's quickly have a look at the exercise. You have to learn these 3 definitions: osmosis, diffusion, active transport. And by learning, I mean you have to write and learn. Then differentiate between osmosis and diffusion. Any one point you will be writing. Full form of ATP you need to remember. So you need to write it down and learn and write the answer over here. And I want you to tell me the significance of active transport in plants. Alright, so that's all for today. I know my videos are a little longer than rest, but today I didn't want to add on a new concept here. So next week we will start with the next aspect of the plant, the transport in the plants. Alright, take good care of yourself, stay safe, keep smiling, keep studying and keep enjoying. Bye for now.